It's your girl Ashley. I be balling basketball show. We're going to recap the wild and insane and mind blowing NBA trade deadline. It was crazy. A lot of end of eras. But before we start, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and tell me your favorite, trade or, who which team won the deadline, and who were the losers. Let me know in the comments. First, let me introduce my guest. Hi, yo. So,
Hey Ashley,
started.
another fun year of trade deadline madness, and this year was particularly insane.
Yeah, it definitely was.
It
It
had to be like
started off
the
with a bang.
it had to be the craziest trade deadline I've ever seen. Like personally, usually you get like one or two major players traded. This year was like five or six. It was very, 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 very wild.
Yeah, very, very unexpected. So, a big, big trade that happened was with Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis. I thought it was a fake trade at first. I really did. I thought it was fake, but it was real. And I said, what? So, the Lakers got Luca, of course. They got Maxi Kleber, Marquise Morris, but the real prize is Doncic. Mavs got Anthony Davis, Matt Christie, a 2029 first round pick, and the Jazz got actually they only got a 2025 second round pick because player Jalen Hood they waived him. So I was like, okay, all right. But what was your reaction, right, to this trade, and what grade would you give them? Well, each team.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most stunned I think I've ever been at any trade that I've ever seen. And like you, I didn't really believe it at all at first. I had a few of my friends like send me like the screenshots of like Shams tweeting and just different stories about it, and I'm just like, what? And then I'm like, was that was that really real? And I had to like make sure it was real, and that was crazy. It happened at like basically midnight on a Saturday, like before the deadline, and I'm just like, this is wacky. This is crazy. I mean, you would go into the season thinking if you named like five players that there's no way they would be traded this season, Luka Doncic would be like one of those players, and you just like he's it's just crazy. The guy is just barely entering like the prime of his career, and he just took the Mavericks to the finals 7 months ago basically. So it's like, how does that happen? Like nothing like that has ever happened when a team makes the NBA finals led by a 25-year-old. How, like, when does that ever result in a trade? Like, truly just baffling. I just don't understand it. I I know like they said that they were frustrated by his conditioning and not really being sure about committing to him long term, like signing his supermax contract, and they just had reservations and everything. But even so, I would think they could do a little better in a trade and get more for him. And it was also weird that they didn't like try to shop him around and try to get like the best offer for him, because you'd think you would put it out there and then try to get like you'll get like 15 offers from 20 offers from teams, and then you can weigh the best offer. Why would you go out there and like singly like focus on like only targeting Anthony Davis, which is like that was weird to me. Like, why would you not like if the Bucks ever did that with Giannis, I would want like, put the player up for auction and try to get the best offer possible for your superstar. Don't just like like a kid walking in the mall and seeing his favorite toy. you you want to spend your money on the first toy that you see in the window. Like, no, you should you should shop around a little bit, see if you find something else that you want to spend your money on. Don't just like zero in on one thing. So I don't know. That was strange. I know their GM was like, oh, like we believe defense wins championships, which I don't necessarily. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, that's true, but I mean, you were just in the finals with Luca with a chance to win, and also like so. I mean, you're right there. It's not like I could see a team that was further away, like saying that, like, yeah, of course, like then that makes more sense when you're further away from it. But I don't know. And also, it was weird to me because it's like last year at the trade deadline last year when the Mavericks picked up Gafford and PJ Washington, it was like they did improve their defense. So like they already have some pretty solid defenders, and Gafford is a good shot blocker and everything. So I mean, I what am I missing? I mean, they had defense already, so wouldn't you want offense? And I don't know. It kind of makes, and like sort of after the trade, a little later, I kind of thought about it a little bit, and it's like, remember what happened to like the Boston Celtics when Kyrie Irving was like the main ball handler, and like he didn't have another like playmaker, like scorer alongside of him. It was just like the Kyrie show in Boston, and like he just took every shot, and like their team was not good, like because of it. So it was like I kind of thought about that, and I'm like, do you really want to like have a repeat of that? Or it's like, why would you want to go back to like only having Kyrie like kind of in the backcourt leading the show, and like an older Clay, like a towards the tail end of his prime, Clay Thompson. Like, I mean, you want a younger guard like Luca. So I mean, I don't know. It just that did not make sense to me. I don't envision. I don't know. I don't envision it being good long term for Dallas. I mean, you're gonna have to watch Luka Doncic play in LA for who knows how long. And I mean, I would be right there with the Mavs fans that are sick and disgusted and angry in Dallas right now. And I totally get their anger, frustration, confusion, and just everything. I mean, it makes complete sense for them to feel that way. And I mean, I know people are saying like Luca's been hurt and all, but I mean, we're talking about Anthony Davis, who's like the I mean, that's a thing with him too. Like you're walking on eggshells and walking on ice with him when it comes to injuries. So he's been pretty healthy lately, like last year and this year. But how how long are you willing to roll the dice that that's going to keep up? I don't know. Uh, from as far as grades go, the Lakers would get an A for this trade, and the Mavericks would get like a D, an F. For me, it'd be a bad grade. It'd be a bad grade for the Mavericks. Some people were saying they think Jason Kidd maybe just got tired of dealing with Luca, or tired of like coaching him or something, or maybe there was like a problem there, which I could kind of see because it sort of adds up a little bit. Where like I know Luca kind of just with his conditioning and kind of just his whining and complaining a lot on the court. I could see Kid not liking that because when Kid was the Bucks coach, we know that like he never liked players like complaining to the refs, or like he was like old school that way, like, oh, just go out there, play the game, do your job, like don't talk to the refs. Like I don't know if you remember that, but he would say that a lot in like his post game interviews, like, oh, we're not going to talk to the refs, we're not going to do this, like, if the ref didn't call it, the ref didn't call it, and that's that kind of thing. So I could see over time like Kid being rubbed the wrong way, like with Luca, and just kind of getting annoyed and tired of that. So that maybe happened. But yeah, it's very odd. So if you're the Lakers and a team, well, that's the other odd part about that is like that the Mavericks were the ones that approached the Lakers. I mean, it's like, huh? Like, I mean, that would be like somebody ringing the doorbell right now and saying, hey, like I inherited some family money here. I don't know what to do with all this. Hey, you want $10,000 and it's right in my car. Here, you can have it tonight. I mean, I'd be a fool to you'd be a fool not to accept it or to turn it down. So if somebody comes knocking on your door offering something good, hey, you're gonna take it. So I don't know. It was a shocking trade, and I I definitely see the Lakers as the winner there, and they have their franchise guy for whenever LeBron eventually decides to retire or move on. So the Lakers are set now.
Yeah, I definitely thought it was a head scratcher. I definitely got to give the Lakers an A plus. I mean, if they're set, you have LeBron right now, and you can, put together a team with him and Luka. And if conditioning was the problem, like, LeBron is the best person to go to, with conditioning. And Mav said he was like 270 pounds, but he doesn't look 270 pounds. I think it had to be the Supermax. I mean, they
And
probably didn't want to pay him, you
even if
know?
he has gained weight, I mean, it kind of makes sense because he hasn't played a game in like 2 months. So I mean that happens to NBA players sometimes, like during the season, because they're used to like their regular diet or eating, but then like they're used to practicing and playing. So when you're out for a month or two, sometimes when you don't change your eating habits, but you're not able to practice or play in games. So it could just be that once he gets back playing, like he'll lose the weight again, like once he starts playing again.
Yeah. And he's planning on playing this weekend, I think. So,
And the Mavericks also gave up Maxi Kleber in the deal, who, I mean, for being like a 10th man on like teams, he's solid. Like he's not a bad player. So I mean, they got something there too. I guess getting Max Christie was decent on the Mavericks part. That maybe keeps it from being an F for me. Maybe it gets to be a D, like just because of getting Christie. So you at least got one young player. You got one guard with one young guard with potential. So I mean, maybe that takes it from an F to a D. I guess it helps them a little bit, but it would just make me sick. Like if you're a Mavericks fan, like how can you how can you watch Luca like in LA? That would just drive me crazy and make me sick. Like I saw somewhere that like this would be like the equivalent of like the Bucks in like 2019 after like we lost the Raptor series, like trading Giannis for like Paul George or something, or like somebody who's like 4 or 5 years older than him, but like not really at the same level. Like it would just be really bad. That's no disrespect to AD because I mean, I like obviously he's a Hall of Famer. He's had a great career. Yeah, you could say a lot of good things, but at the end of the day, he's what like 6 years older than Luca, basically. So I mean, 6 years in the NBA is a long time. You don't want to trade a 25-year-old star for a 32-year-old star, or I think Luca will be 26 in like a couple weeks. So whatever, basically 26 and 32 I think is the difference between those two guys. So it's like it's 6 years in the NBA is a long time. Like that's it might not be a long time for you or I or regular life, but for comparing basketball players, it's a significant difference. So like that just I would hate trading Giannis when he was 25 for a 32-year-old star. It's just a bad decision. You're losing out on years. Like what's the thinking there? And like talking
yeah.
about like defense winning championships and stuff, like yeah, AD is a great defender and everything, but I feel like defense is something you can kind of find sometimes. Like you can sign a you can sign a buyout guy to play defense or sign a guy to get some blocks or whatever. Like I don't know if that's always. I mean, it's a little hard to find sometimes, but I think it's more manageable. Having the superstar is the biggest part. You want a superstar player. If you have a superstar player, it should be easier to find role guys around him to play defense, to rebound, to do the little things, to find your PJ Tuckers, to find your DeLon Wrights, to find your defenders. Like you can find those guys, but that's what the
Yeah,
Mavericks decided to do this. So the fans are you you see all that stuff. They're like lying like flowers in front of the stadium and like having a funeral service for Luca and that the Mavericks are dead to them and people are going like completely crazy there. Which, by the way, I respect that. I don't care. Like I think it's kind of funny. Like you want to be that passionate as a fan, like go right ahead. Like I don't really see anything wrong with that as long as nobody gets hurt or harmed or lines aren't crossed. I don't see a problem with protesting like that.
yeah, I do feel bad for the Mavs because you think, hey, he's gonna retire there and give you guys another championship, like you know, Dirk did. But yeah, for the Mavs, I would give it like a D, only because I feel like they could have got more picks and more young prospects. I won't get it a bit F because
Oh,
if they do stay healthy, they could contend. Um, and also, like AD's no slouch, but he
no, he's not.
is
He's
more
really good.
injury prone than
He's
most
really good. He's
players.
having a good year. No, he's been playing really well lately. He's been healthy. Um, all of that's good, but it's definitely risky.
Yeah, like you're you're competing for a championship for the next 2 years, if that, and then it's over for you guys. Like if you guys don't win in the next 2, 3 years, it's over. So why would you
It's
trade three
it's extremely
years
short
for
sighted. You could have you could
money?
have you could have 10 years of Luca or 2 years of like AD and Kyrie. Like it doesn't really make sense.
I, it could be a conspiracy. It could be a conspiracy.
Some
People
people
are
were saying
saying,
that the owners or whatever like are trying to get the team moved maybe or something.
"Hmm, oh, moved where? Hmm,
I thought I heard that they were. Um, I don't know what I heard exactly. Something about like there was some angle with Las Vegas or something. Like one of the owners is from Las Vegas or something, and he wants the team moved there or something.
hmm,
The other conspiracy I thought I saw was like the Lakers GM Rob Palinka and the Mavericks owner Nico Harrison like know each other or are friends or something, and somebody thought that they were like somebody said that maybe he was doing his buddy a favor or something weird.
I think there's I think for my conspiracy theory, I'm a realist, but I also like conspiracy theories. Adam Silver is like the NBA ratings are down. Brian James gonna be retiring soon. I need the Lakers to have another star. Anthony Davis isn't it? Because he's marketing wise, he's not the marketing, like Anthony Davis isn't the
Attraction.
market player. Yeah, that Luca is. And everyone says, oh, if the big markets do good, like the Knicks or the Lakers or like Celtics, Bulls, if big markets are good, then the NBA's ratings are good and everything else is good. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe they
on
want the
that,
Celtics versus Lakers in the finals in the future.
definitely. They definitely
Maybe.
do. Isn't it suspicious that whenever like whenever there's a trade that like really benefits like a team, it's always the Lakers that are like involved. It's kind of suspicious. Like Shaq and Pau Gasol.
It's
Um,
definitely suspicious because it seems like it's one sided a
yeah,
lot. Because, like, if
like
you're the
trading Kwame Brown.
Mavs,
for Pau
Huh?
Gasol, like in 2008, I think, or like trading Kwame Brown for Pau Gasol or whatever. That was a joke.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I guess Shaq, I think, went to the Lakers in free agency, so maybe that one doesn't count. But they just always seem to benefit. It's they
Well,
always seem to benefit somehow.
the one bad thing that happened to the Lakers was that
Losing
Beto
rebounding
trade.
defense. What?
The one bad thing that happened to the Lakers was that Beto trade with
Chris
Chris
Paul.
Paul.
Oh
That
yeah.
was a bad thing. I don't know.
So on that note, do you want to lead into the Lakers' other trade?
Oh yeah, we might as well. They got Mark Williams, great young big. They say he's injured a lot. Something's wrong with his back. The Hornets got Dalton Connect. I think
Yep.
that's the name. Hamish Reddish, 2030 pick, and a 2031 first round pick, unprotected. And I was kind of shaking my head because I was like, the Hornets just traded Nick Richards. So now they have no center, but then they ended up getting Nurkic. But still, I'm like, Nurkic isn't really on the same timeline. So I was
No,
like, well, this is weird.
it is.
But I mean, Dalton, feel like he's not really, I feel like he's a shooter, sniper, but feel like you can have snipers on the off the bench. I don't know if he's a starter, but maybe they didn't want to pay Mark Williams, money, I guess. But yeah, this is another win for the Lakers. I feel like they didn't have to give up that much for Mark Williams. Maybe he's the athletic mobile big they wanted. A lot of people are laughing because Williams is a center and Anthony Davis was saying, hey, I want to play the four. I need another big. And now he got one, but it's now he's a gone. But I with the Hornets, I'll give it a B only because I feel like, well, if you keep, Dalton and Cam Reddish, that's good. But I feel like you need bigs, and I feel like Nurkic isn't on their timeline. But I'll give it a B because, you never know what, Dalton can become. But it has to be an A for me for the Lakers, because really, if you think about it, they don't really care about picks. Reddish wasn't doing nothing. The only thing you lose is Dalton, and he was like a lot of people were surprised that he was like even good. They're like, oh, he's a late first rounder. But I feel like Mark Williams has more potential than Dalton. Um, but Dalton, we'll see what he can become. But I think they probably was like being cheap a little bit. They probably didn't want to pay Mark Williams the money because of the
Yeah.
injuries. Yeah. And of course Dalton, he's still on a rookie deal. So what do you think?
Um. Yeah. I'm. Well, I mean, once AD was traded, the Lakers needed to get a big man who could rebound and be a lob threat for Luca, and you know they had a void at center, so they needed to find someone. I'm a bit surprised Charlotte gave up on Mark Williams because he's a younger player that's on a clear rebuild team. So I'm surprised that they were willing to let him go like that. I know he's had some of the injury issues and some of the injury concerns, so it's possible that they didn't want to pay him with his upcoming contract because of his injury troubles, perhaps, possibly, which is probably valid. I probably give it a B for the Lakers only because Dalton Connect was playing a pretty solid role there already in his first year as a rookie, and he was showing a lot of promise. He's just shooting great, playing great all around. Um, so I think losing him does matter a little bit for them. Obviously, he was a rookie, so I don't know how much he would have played down the stretch or in the playoffs or going forward. So from that aspect, they got more of a rotational player for the playoffs and for further down the line. For the Hornets, I maybe give it a B also, so a B for both teams. Decent haul for Mark Williams, and they got in return. Connect, obviously, being the shooter that he is, and like you said, you don't know how he's going to grow and what he'll turn into. So, showing a lot of potential, a lot of promise. So, that's really, really good for them. Um, but I don't really see it as being a clear A necessarily for either team. So, probably a B just for both teams.
Okay,
But
okay. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. There
And
was
yeah,
some.
I agree. I agree with you about Nurkic. That why would you want to replace a young center with Nurkic? It doesn't fit with the rest of the team. It seems odd.
Yeah. So the Hornets got oh, but they did get a 2026 first round pick along with Nurkic. That's pretty good. The Suns get Cody Martin, and you might have to pronounce this one for me. Valege Mike.
Milic,
That's the best I can do. Mic.
Micic,
Yeah. And they also got a second round pick for 2026.
the Hornets
The
got, yeah,
Suns.
or
Yeah.
oh, the Suns
The Hornets
got
got the
Nurkic.
first round pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Suns got the second round pick.
Speaking of Nurkic, did you see that? You see the information that came out that he said that he and Coach Bud, uh, Mike Budenholzer, didn't talk for like 2 months.
Oh wow. Didn't they like see each other at practice and stuff?
You'd think so. I don't like a reporter asked him a question about like his role or like what Coach Bud has told him or something, and he said like, "Oh, I haven't talked to him in months."
Oh wow.
What a mess.
I guess it
That's
be like that. Oh man.
that's
It's
wild.
crazy. Because wasn't he coming off the bench for a while?
I'm not too sure on that.
Hmm. Yeah. It did look like the Suns were doing a good job in the beginning, but then they started losing.
Should we cover the other big blockbuster trade
Oh
now?
yeah, Spurs. The Spurs got a really great gift in Fox. You know, he's fast, but Darren Fox, he wanted out, right? And he wanted to go to the Spurs. So, the Kings granted him that wish. Um, which some teams don't do. They don't always give the player what they want. They usually just go for the best deal and stuff. So the Spurs received Fox and Jordan McLaughlin.
Yep.
The Kings received, this was kind of wild, Zach Levine, a 2025 first round pick. Wow, they got a lot of picks. 2027 first round pick, 2020, no, 2025 second round pick, 2031 second round pick, a lot of seconds. They got a 2028 what pick from the Nuggets and a second round pick from the Bulls. Oh, they also got this player named City
Oh yeah.
Sissoko.
Yeah, I can't quite say his last name. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah. And the Bulls got Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Herter, and they got their own first round pick back for this year.
I feel like the Spurs gave up like almost nothing to get De'Aaron Fox. You gave up Zach Collins and Trey Jones like for De'Aaron Fox. I mean, that's kind of wild to me.
Yeah, they gave up Kevin Herter, but
Oh.
they didn't really give up much. It's like a steal,
Also the whole thing with Fox like demanding a trade out of Sacramento kind of like annoyed me because it's like I don't feel like he's like good enough or done enough to really like act that way or like demand a trade. Like he's been good, but you ain't that good to like demand trades and act like that and oh get me out of here and it's like and the Kings were like the hottest team in the league when he like did that or wanted out. So that didn't make sense to me. Like they fired their coach and then they won like something like 8 out of 10 games or something and we're doing really well. It's like then he asks out, it's like, come on. Like and that rubbed me the wrong way kind of. I didn't like that. It was weird.
I'm not really quite sure why he wanted out.
Like
I
what
don't
was the
know if it
problem? Like they were winning, like they started winning, like they have a better record than the Spurs, the team that he wanted to go to. So it's like why did he want to I understand like the Wemby attraction, but like I don't know, that was weird to me.
to me, Fox is not a franchise player. He's actually Webby is like the franchise player, and now you got Webby, Wemby help, right? Like Fox, he's not a franchise player. Like he was the face of the Kings. The face of the Kings, you know, is different. I feel like a lot of players are like just franchise cornerstones where you like, okay, you put them over here, but really, you need that centerpiece. You need that Giannis, that Braun, that Wemby, right? And Fox just wasn't it. And I guess the Kings, they did their best, to be honest. They tried, Of course, they made some bad drafts here and there, like Marvin Bagley drafting him. I'm like, what were you thinking, guys? But I don't know why he wanted out. I thought that when they fired the coach, then that solved the problem. But I guess
Yeah,
it
me too.
didn't solve the problem. I don't know. Mm.
It was very weird, like weird, random, unexpected. It's like they fired the coach, they changed the coach, and then you start winning, and then you're like, "Oh, get me out of here!" Like that's kind of just a weird, bad look to me. Like I don't know, that I didn't like that.
Sometimes players want to change the scenery, or sometimes they have people in their ear that says, "Hey, you gotta leave
I feel like
to
Fox
be
hasn't even.
bigger."
I feel like he hasn't even been in Sacramento like that long, like 5 or 6 years. Like he should have stuck it out a little longer. I think.
Yeah, because I feel like, they made it to the playoffs and it was making noise and stuff. So I don't know what happened. Something happened.
Should have at least given it like another year, I would say, or like at least until like the end of the season.
I bet they're regretting trading Halliburton now because,
Yep. So
you don't
who's
have a
like
point guard.
and the whole thing that like I talked with you about, like when the trade happened, is like they're the Kings are recreating the Chicago Bulls backcourt of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Like we already saw this. We just saw that it like didn't work. Like we saw for years that like that didn't work. So why do you think it'll like be different now? Just it doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense.
there's not a lot of, there's some questionable people in front offices.
That would be
Um,
like some team like trying to recreate like the Bucks backcourt of like Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis. Like you saw that it like didn't work, so why would you like try to recreate it? Just doesn't make sense.
yeah, I have no idea. But I
Those two guys
definitely,
have to like those two guys have to be like weirded out by that. It's like, hey, we were teammates like 7 months ago or 8 months ago or whatever. It's like super weird.
yeah, I think,
For the Kings, I would grade that like a C maybe, like a C deal for
well,
the Kings. So I felt like you could maybe get a little more for Fox. He's in his prime, and I guess the problem was is he demanded out, so the Kings didn't really have any leverage. They just kind of had to take whatever they got. So that kind of happens when a player demands out. You kind of lose. control of things. For the Spurs,
Yeah.
I would give it an A for the Spurs for sure. They gave up not much of anything really to get De'Aaron Fox, a franchise point guard that you can pair with Wemby for the future. Now they have their two cornerstones going forward, and he's in his prime, like right dead in his prime, like right at the beginning of his prime, De'Aaron Fox. So I mean, that's a really really good trade for the Spurs, I'd say.
Yeah. I'll give it the same. I
For the
do like
Bulls,
that.
I guess
They
I
got a lot of
for the Bulls, I don't know. I guess they got a lot of draft picks, so maybe like a B, maybe.
Bulls. They mostly just got the first round pick.
Oh, so yeah, I don't
The
know.
Kings are the ones that got a lot of seconds and two
Oh, maybe like
firsts.
a C plus then for the Bulls. Also weird how the Bulls traded DeMar DeRozan, they traded Zach Levine, but they still haven't traded Nikola Vucevic. It's like, why would you keep him like with the rest of the group? If you trade everybody else, why would you keep him?
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't know about some teams.
Did you
It's
hear
like
about Did you hear that nonsense today or whatever yesterday about DeMarcus Cousins on like a podcast or whatever was talking about how like the Bucks should be scared that Giannis would sign with the Bulls someday or some garbage. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? He's like, oh, I played with Giannis for like, oh, and I know that like even when he's kidding, like there's some truth to his humor and like, oh, like Chicago is right down the road, a big market, a historic franchise. They should be scared or something. I'm like, what in the world, man? Like you were Giannis's teammate for what, 3 weeks, and you think that you know him? You don't know jack
um
squat.
if Giannis leaves the Bucks, he's not leaving us for the Bulls. Come on now.
It's not
They're,
1996. Like the Bulls aren't like a championship team.
they don't
They've
have
been
MJ. They don't have Pimpin.
And he like DeMarcus Cousins was like, oh, people were like worried that even before they won the championship that Giannis was out of there and was going to leave. And I'm just like, that is such bogus bull crap. Nobody has ever said that. That's not based on anything. You're just yapping. You're just blabbing.
I am happy that, Giannis, he's not like a lot of these superstars, when things don't go their way or, things get rough, I want to trade out,
You know,
he, he stuck through it,
he's been completely loyal, so loyal from day one.
Yeah. But yeah,
People take
I
it
would
for
agree
granted.
with you. Huh?
Oh, I was just saying people take it for granted, like how
Yeah.
loyal he's been and how great he's been with us.
Yeah.
So, what other big trades we got left to discuss?
Oh, the Warriors. The Warriors
Oh,
got
yep,
Jimmy Butler. I was I was a
that
little
was a
surprised. He signed an extension. Because at
yeah,
first he was like, I'm not signing an extension with no one but the Suns. But he did it for the Warriors. So that's good.
that guy's such a clown.
The Heat, they received Andrew Wiggins, Cal Anderson, PJ Tucker. What up, PJ? But I think he kept getting traded a lot too, PJ Tucker. And
Yep,
they
he got
also got,
traded to the Raptors for Davion Mitchell.
yeah, that was PJ Tucker and even Dennis Struder. They kept getting traded
Those
back
two
and forth,
guys get
back and
tossed
forth.
around like laundry at the laundromat. Like where you take the clothes out of the washer, then you toss them in that little cart, and then you move them to the dryer, and then you toss them back in the cart, and you just keep moving your stuff all around.
Yeah, they
Somebody made
just,
I saw a funny joke online that somebody brought up former Bucks legend Luke Ridnour, how he would always get traded at all the trade deadlines. And they said, I wonder if Luke Ridnour now, even in retirement, like can't stand to like look at his phone on the day of like the trade deadline because he has like like PTSD or like past trauma from like all the times of being traded.
Yeah, I do remember Luke Ridnour getting traded a lot.
Dennis
I bet he
Schroeder
got a
has
great
been,
stories. I mean,
yeah,
Luke Ridnour, yeah.
Dennis Schroeder's been traded like 20 times in his career. I can't even keep track of it. It seems
I think it might be like 12, and I think it happened 4 times this season.
crazy.
Yeah. Um,
I thought he would stay with the Warriors when they traded for him. That was weird. Of course, actually, no. I remember thinking that I didn't really understand the fit from like the Warriors' perspective. So I didn't really understand that Schroeder trade, why the Warriors traded for him, because it didn't really seem like he fit there. And then they just ended up trading him anyways.
yeah.
Did the Memphis Grizzlies make a trade? Or wasn't Marcus Smart traded?
Oh yeah, Marcus Smart was traded to the Wizards. Yeah.
That's what I thought. What
Uh,
trade were we just discussing? Right now?
oh, the Warriors. The Warriors got
Oh
Jimmy
yeah, with Jimmy
Butler.
Butler.
The Heat got Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker, a first round protected pick. Jazz received Dennis Schroeder, and the Pistons received Lindy Waters the third and Josh Richardson. You don't know what the Pistons are doing. But
What are you
for
gonna
the
do with
Heat,
those guys?
I gotta give it a B. Um, for the Warriors, I'll give it an A. But I don't know how Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green will get along. I feel like, they're kind of the type to get in a lot of arguments. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like the Heat, they did pretty decent for a guy, that's demanding trades and, he's getting
So
older.
the Heat got uh
Wiggins, Cal
Wiggins,
Anderson,
Kyle
PJ
Anderson.
Tucker, and first round draft pick,
Okay.
2025.
Yeah, getting Wiggins so they got a first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it's solid. Um, I'd probably give it a B for the Heat. Um, Wiggins is somewhat close to as good as Jimmy Butler. They're comparable, at least in the regular season. Maybe not like in the playoffs necessarily, but for the
Yeah.
regular season, they're comparable. Getting the draft pick was nice. Jimmy kind of tanked his own trade value by getting suspended 3 different times with the team, and that was just a nightmare, a mess. So, I mean, it got to the point where towards the end, you'd kind of just be happy with getting anything for him at that point,
Mm.
with how he just kind of tanked his value by getting suspended all those times. For the Warriors, I don't know. I guess I'd give it maybe a B. Um, are you giving it an A because Jimmy ended up signing the extension with the Warriors?
Yeah, signing an extension and also, it gives them a little more hope, a little more hope
My
of,
only thing is like, yeah, my only thing is like Green, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, and Jimmy Butler as your core. Like, that's an old core three. Like they're
don't they still have Jonathan Kuminga?
Kuminga. Yeah, I'm just saying like Green, Butler, and Curry are kind of their core, and they're old. It's an
Buddy
old
Hill,
core.
he has been getting cold. He started off the season hot, but got cold. They might have Gary Payton still, but yeah, Green, it shouldn't really be a third option.
Well, I'm just looking at it in terms of like just who their leaders are, who has been there the longest, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I just think it gives them a little more hope, like Curry, give them a little more hope that they're fighting for something, even though I don't see a championship in their future.
No, I don't either. I I'm not sure how much it improves them. If you look at Wiggins versus Butler, Wiggins is like 5 or 6 years younger. So I mean, from that standpoint, I'd maybe rather have Andrew Wiggins. I don't know, but
Yeah,
he's an interesting player because he goes through weird motivational stretches where sometimes he looks really dominant for several weeks, and then other times he just disappears for like long like stretches of time. And I think he was really good in the 2022 finals. And then after they won their ring, he kind of like checked out and was like disappeared again and was like missing. He his motivation like swings up and down a lot, where he can be good for a while, then he kind of goes missing, and he hasn't really been consistent like for any stretch of time.
yeah, that's true.
So what other is that kind of
Oh, the
all the
Cavs.
big?
You have to discuss the
Oh, the
Cavs
Cavs.
because they got better. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I,
Yeah,
I
that's
was thinking, they need a better three, and they got it with DeAndre Hunter. The Hawks got Karis LeVert, George Name,
yeah, yeah. George
and
Team.
yeah, two swaps and again, 3 second round picks. I don't know what the Hawks are doing. Are they going to trade, Trey Young in the future? Because it seems like they just gave up. Um, I know Jalen Johnson is out for the whole season. Maybe that did it, but I feel like DeAndre Hunter, you should have kept him or at least get something better. Because, all these players are, they're kind of old, they're not going to help Trey. I thought Hunter was coming into his own, he was killing us whenever he played the Bucks. Um,
He was having a breakout season.
yeah, so I mean, why would you trade him? And you didn't get much for him. So
Didn't the Hawks
Hawks,
also trade Bogdanovich?
yep, they traded Double B Bondon Bondonovich. That's a little better. But
Bog,
the Clippers, he went to the Clippers, and the Hawks got Terrence Mann and Bones Highland. Then and the Clippers got 3 second round picks.
I would rather have Bogdanovich than Terrence Mann and Highland.
I have no idea what the Hawks are doing.
Both those trades from the Hawks to me are awful. Well, maybe the Bogdanovich one isn't necessarily awful, but it's not great. The trade of DeAndre Hunter I thought was horrible. Like that's just he's a young guy that should be like part of their core, and he was breaking out and doing well. Like why would you trade him to the Cavs? It's just silly. And they got older players back for him, like guys who are like 10 years older than him. Well, what's the point of that?
I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Young asks for a trade. And he has
Like,
every right to after this trade
like
deadline. Like,
I'm pretty
yikes.
sure, like this is guessing off the top of my head, but I think DeAndre Hunter is like 23 or 24 and years old, and Niang and Levert are for sure in their 30s somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's just weird to me. I don't understand that one. Why would you? Again, why are you giving up a promising good young player for older players? That doesn't make sense to me.
These
The
type
Hawks
of
aren't the Hawks aren't the type of team that are like strongly contending for anything. So like when you're kind of on the fringe as a team, you want to keep your young talent. Like if you're a team that you feel like you're the Celtics or the Nuggets or whoever, you're a good team, then you can take on like the older players, but like and bring them on your team. But like when you're not really a true contender, you should be keeping your younger players that can break out like Hunter was. It didn't make sense. That was silly. They just helped the Cavs get a lot better. I can tell you that because now the Cavs have another. They were already like the deepest team in the NBA, and now you add Hunter to the mix, a guy who's athletic and who he could guard Tatum possibly in a series if they play the Celtics. So I mean, you got your Tatum defender, you got more athleticism. That's scary for sure. For the Cavs, it's an A. It's an A grade for me. For the Hawks, it's like a D. It's bad for the Hawks.
Really, really bad.
D trade.
I definitely would give the Cavs an A. Um, they're really going for it. They're really going for it, and I'm happy for them, because you can get out of that LeBron James shadow a little bit. But
Yeah, they're going to be
for the
scary.
Hawks, yeah, definitely a D or an F
Cavs are going to be
because this
scary
could
for sure.
lead, huh?
Cavs are going to be scary for sure.
Yeah, and it almost makes me think like if you're the Hawks, I could be the GM if this is what you're doing. I could do better than that, Hawks. Come on.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like I'm like, yo, I'll save it for later. I'll save it for the
Did
Bucks.
the Thunder make any trades?
Oh wait, didn't they? But then did they waive? Did they trade for Daniel Dice and then waive him? I think that's what they did.
Uh, did they waive him? I remember seeing
Yeah,
that they traded for him.
he's waived. They
Oh, I
probably was
know.
like,
Oh, so he's a free agent now.
yeah, maybe we could get him. I don't
I
know.
I wouldn't mind the Bucks taking a look at him.
Giannis is always dunking on him, so he'll be happy to be on Giannis' team.
Speaking of, I just thought of another trade we forgot to mention that probably deserves a mention is the Brandon Ingram trade
Yeah, to the
from New
Raptors.
Orleans to the Raptors. Yeah, what'd you
Um,
think of that?
I feel like that could be good. Change the scenery for Brandon. Maybe he can get healthy. Maybe they can, maybe him and, RJ Barrett could be, in the
Scotty
wings
Barnes.
together. Yeah, and Scotty Barnes.
How does that fit together though? Doesn't Brandon Ingram play the same position as Scotty Barnes?
I feel like
Or is,
Ingram is like a 3 and
or
Barnes is
is
like a 4.
oh yeah, maybe. Is
Maybe
Barrett
Barrett can play the 2 and
oh
Emmanuel
Barrett
quickly can
too.
play the 1.
They kind of
Maybe or
got a nice
something.
little Jakob Pertl at the 5.
And don't they got a Chua or something?
No, he's
No,
on the Knicks.
Precious.
He's
Oh
on the
no.
Knicks now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
The Raptors have a nice little team. Maybe they can get hot in the second half of the year. They've been
Yeah,
playing
so
better. They've been playing better lately. The Raptors.
yeah. Something about his thumb. Something's wrong with Daniel Dice's thumb. I don't know. And they waived him. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the
Hey,
Raptors.
I got a
Huh?
healthy thumb. If they're looking for a guy with workable thumbs for an NBA contract, right here, hit your guy Kyle up.
Yeah, he's got a mean floater.
That floater in action.
Yeah. Pelicans, they got Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk. They did get a second round pick for 2025, and for 2026 they got a first round pick from Indiana. I feel bad for the Pelicans because, there was some stat where Zion, Brandon Ingram, and
DeJounte Murray.
DeJounte Murray, yeah, they didn't really play together a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you know, that's what happens. But we never got to see them in action. But For the Raptors, I would definitely give it a solid.
B plus
mm,
maybe. B.
Yeah, because I don't know if they're gonna keep Brandon. That's the thing. If you keep Brandon
True.
and he's healthy, maybe it turns into an A. But for now, it's a B. He didn't have to give up much for him, so that's good.
Yeah, he might be like a rental. Maybe that's the only problem.
Yeah.
He
So
doesn't seem like a Toronto Raptors guy, if I'm being honest.
you know what? I think he might go anywhere if they pay him because in
Maybe.
the off season there was like these rumors where he was asking for a ton of money or something. And I'm like, bro, you're not that type of player. I don't know what he was thinking, but yeah. Is there any other trades you want to discuss? Um, the
Um,
Wizards got Marcus Smart.
yeah, I think
Or
we briefly
yeah,
touched on that one.
yeah. Grizzlies got Marvin Bagley. Johnny Davis. Bucks fans. Don't worry, we're gonna talk about the Bucks, but I, I, we're Bucks fans, so this might get emotional. So I saved it for last.
Yeah, I think we covered all
A
the.
lot of a lot of the other trades are just.
Did the Suns make any trades?
Yeah, they did.
What did they do?
Suns didn't really get that much. Remember Nurkic?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they got Cody Martin.
I was just thinking of like because there were so many Durant rumors and stuff, and
Yeah,
then of course
Durant.
Jimmy Butler wanted to go to the Suns, so that didn't work out. Too bad, so sad.
They said they said Brandon. No, they said Bradley Bill wanted to go somewhere where it's warm weather, and then they said that KD could have went back to the Warriors, but shut it down. Like, no, I don't want to go back there. Um, which is understandable. See Draymond Green, see Draymond, he just cost yourself a potential championship. I would have actually gave their championship desires higher if they got KD. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, but KD
yeah. I
is
saw
kind of
that about
injured.
how Durant didn't want to go back to Golden State.
You're probably tired of Draymond, man. See Draymond,
Probably.
you're costing yourself more championships.
I don't think anybody wants to play with Draymond, if I'm being honest. Who would want to play with him?
I don't want to come to practice and be afraid I'm gonna get punched.
I was gonna say any new player should maybe when Jimmy Butler like arrives for like his first practice, he should have like a helmet on or something, like walking into the building.
It's possible. It's possible.
Did you see that nonsense with Draymond Green on one of his podcasts? He was like telling Jordan Poole to like grow up and like forget about like what happened and just move on. It's like, bro, you like bashed his face into like a wall. Like, no, like I wouldn't like move on from that.
It's gonna take time. It's not like Jordan Poole is 80 years old still talking about it. Like it's still a couple years. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
kind of fresh.
I mean, the video of that was crazy. I don't know if you ever saw the video of that, but maybe you did. Like the video of that was crazy. He just like he just wound up and totally like coalloped him like right in the face, sent him flying into like the wall. Like that was a crazy punch. Like
Yeah,
that
put
wasn't
power in it.
like you see like NBA fights and like scuffles in games and it's mostly just like little shoving and if there is a punch it's like relatively minor. It's not a full like complete wind up swing. Like
Yeah,
that was a full wind up swing he put into him. That was crazy.
yeah,
He should have been suspended for like the entire season that year for that.
yeah. Oh, the Mavs did get Caleb Martin. That's the other twin.
Oh, so
Mm,
both twins were on the move.
Yeah,
Caleb and Cody.
the 76ers got Quentin Grimes.
Oh yeah, that was who did they trade for him?
Uh, Grimes,
Who did the Sixers trade to acquire Grimes?
Caleb Martin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's solid for the Sixers. I kind of like Grimes. He was doing pretty well in Dallas. I'm surprised they traded him.
yeah. That's a pretty even trade. I would give it a solid
Yeah,
B. That's kind of even Stevens, and
Grimes is solid.
they both got second round picks out of it too.
Yeah,
But a lot of the other trades, Reggie Jackson. I think Reggie Jackson got to the Wizards, but didn't they waive him or something?
I'm not sure on that one. The
And the
Wizards aren't
Pistons,
the Wizards aren't worth discussing
yeah, they
unless it's
really
about the
aren't.
unless it's about the Bucks trade.
The Pistons got a KJ Martin, which is like the son of Kenyon Martin. But yeah, let's talk about